No great bar. Looks good to me. Let's lean back a little bit. Channel. Looks good to me. Looks like we're streaming. Let's see if we have any audio. That's the important thing. Looks good to me. Indeed we do. Hello. It's been a while since I've done a stream or really anything on this channel. I apologize if I'm distracted. I am going to post about this on my Instagram and my Twitter so that people can see Probably would have been easier to do this from my phone, but them's the breaks. Let's see. Let's find something good to post. Here, let's take this image of a watermark with a watermark and post it. There we go. Perfect. Link in bio. Share. Post has been sent, and then let's do the same thing on my Twitter. I am live on my YouTube channel right now. And then let's get the, sorry about this. Oh, hey Jack, how you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about movies today. I figured might as well give myself a Christmas present. And what do I like more than talking about movies? So, alrighty. Posted on Twitter. Posted on Instagram. We are still streaming. What else is there to do? What did you say, Jack? The chat on my screen is all messed up. I'm doing this on my phone. I'm chilling. I'm so close to being done with my semester. Nice. Yeah, I just wrapped up all my work last night. It felt pretty great. So, anyway, hello everyone. It's been a while since I've done one of these. Been longer since I posted anything on this channel. This is kind of a random thing that I wanted to do. I'm in the festive season, and I wanted to talk about some movies because those are my favorite things. So here, let me switch away from this for now. I'm not gonna lift the entire thing up, but over my first semester in college at Pace University, I got really into buying Criterion Blu-rays from the Criterion collection. So like these things, they're just very nice Blu-rays, and they come with booklets with reading materials. Yeah, I figured I'd just run through my collection because everything I have quite a few DVDs or Blu-rays, and they're all I bought them all in the past few months, because I just kept getting obsessed. Not all of them are Criterion. I think there's 2 non-Criterions in here, but most of them are. And yeah, I figured it's the holidays. Things are kind of crazy right now. I didn't feel like doing. I didn't really feel like posting anything for the past like a while, so I figured I'd just talk about this. Right now, I think Jack is still the only person watching right now, but if at any point anything goes wrong, please let me know. And also feel free to talk in the chat. But yeah, the idea is that I'll record this right now, download the entire stream, and then edit something from my YouTube channel. And who knows, maybe this will be like a new Christmas tradition I do, where I just buy a bunch of Blu-rays and talk about them every year at Christmas. But yeah, happy holidays, everyone. I hope you all are safe and doing well. I hope you get everything you wanted for Christmas. And without further ado, let's talk about some movies. Starting with, you may have seen this, Criterion Collection. What is it exactly? So, they have like this thing they have this label on the back of every DVD, on the back of every Blu-ray and DVD. The Criterion Collection is dedicated to gathering the greatest films from around the world and publishing them in editions of the highest technical quality with supplemental features that enhance the appreciation of the art of film. So there's another there's a bunch of like different reasons why you would want to go with like Criterion specifically. They just look really nice. Like these all have like specific box covers. They come with a lot of like special features on the discs. So like audio commentaries, or like a bunch of these actually come with like mini documentaries, which is really cool. The main reason I buy them actually is these things. They come with essays for like each film. So like there are like a couple essays about the first film I'm going to be talking about, 12 Angry Men. And they come with just a bunch of essays that just talk about the movie, and I love reading them. So that's the main reason I buy them, but there's a bunch of reasons to buy them. They are kind of expensive. I believe if you get them for I got all of mine on a half-off deal, and they still run you about $20. So they are a little expensive, but I love them, and I love reading about them. I love watching them, obviously. And yeah, they're the majority of my spending for the last like month has been on Criterion's. Very cool presentation, to be sure. I agree. I think they're like the quality of their presentation is like always like evident. Anyway, let's talk about some movies. 12 Angry... I'm going alphabetical order. 12 Angry Men starts with a number. Starting off with a classic, absolute banger. For those who don't know, I actually made an effort to watch one movie every day this year. I had like this whole list. I planned it all out at the beginning of the year. I made it up to about May, and I got a little burnt out. And I would every now and again come back to the list and maybe like, oh, maybe I'll just like pick it up here. I never did. I never like got as into it as I did at the beginning of the year, but I did. At one of those days was the first time I watched 12 Angry Men, and it was one of the best movie experiences I've had in a while. I love this movie. Single-handedly made Sidney Lumet, the director, a name that rattles around in my mind a lot when I think of like great directors. There's another one of his movies in here, one that I think is a lot less well-known, but I bought it for a very specific reason. Another reason I wanted to talk about these is because I haven't seen all of them, but I do have like very specific reasons for buying them. 12 Angry Men I've seen. It's amazing. One of the best plays ever written, one of the best movies ever. Yeah, it's just a great movie, not too long, like engaging. The essays that come with it are really were really interesting to read. Yeah, I could watch this movie like any day of the week. It's a classic. I think if you haven't seen 12 Angry Men, of the movies I'm talking about today, this is a strong opener. Yeah, you know what? I do think I can say that. Of the movies that I'm going to be talking about today, this is the one that I think you should see the most. Legal drama, correct. Yes, it is a courtroom drama. It's about the jurors in a court case deliberating whether or not the defendant is guilty or not, and they all have to be unanimous. Yeah, of the movies I'm going to be talking about, I think I would... I don't know. Of the movies that I'm talking about, this is definitely, like, up there. I think this is one of the movies that you should talk about. Or this is one of the movies that you should see. It's also, like, a really great... I was reading about it in the essay. They talk about... It's a really great New York movie. Like, a lot... aside from, like, Henry Fonda, like, all the actors are, like, significant to, like, the New York drama circuit. I might be wildly misquoting, but I just found that interesting. Because I live in New York, and I love New York, and I love movies that are based on New York. There are a few of them in here. So yeah, 12 Angry Men, great movie. Can't recommend it enough. One down. Next, Barry Lyndon. I have not seen it yet. This is, I think, next on my watch list. I was actually thinking about watching it maybe tonight. Yeah, Barry Lyndon, Stanley Kubrick. Maybe you've heard of him, maybe you haven't. I when I was researching that list of movies that I was going to do for like one a year, Stanley Kubrick was like high on my list, but this movie in particular was actually not. I remember I wanted to like watch A Clockwork Orange, 2001, Full Metal Jacket, and The Shining, you know, the ones that people immediately recognize. I don't think people immediately recognize Barry Lyndon. Even though I feel like it is held in like a really high regard. Like a lot of people think it's Kubrick's best movie. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. Again, I haven't like read any of the like supplements to it. I barely like cracked open this DVD case. I mean, I love Stanley Kubrick. A Clockwork Orange was one of my favorite first viewing experiences of any movie. And Full Metal Jacket, I think, is still like my second favorite movie ever. So, there's that. Yeah, there are a couple Kubrick films in here. Not everything is like a part of the Criterion collection, like Clockwork Orange, Full Metal Jacket. That stuff's not in the collection, but this was, and people kept recommending it to me. Well, my lit professor recommended it to me. He said this was a movie that he watches like every holiday season. And, you know, I kept watching... A lot of the inspiration for the movies that I haven't seen in this collection are from watching, like, the Criterion Closet, where they have, like, actors and directors talk about, like, movies. And there are, like, a bunch of names that keep coming up, like 8½, which is, like, Federico Fellini. And, like, a classic. I still haven't seen it, still. But Barry Lyndon definitely came up a lot. One of Kubrick's masterpieces, apparently, but I still haven't seen it. But I'm very much looking forward to it, even though it is 185 minutes long. I'm not great with 3-hour movies. Usually I prefer movies like 12 Angry Men, where they're like an hour and a half. Even like 2 hours can be pushing it for me, but there are some exceptions, like Gone with the Wind. I really like Gone with the Wind, even though it obviously hasn't aged well, but I think I was engaged throughout the entirety of the 4 hours that I watched it. So, there's that. But yeah, Barry Lyndon, Stanley Kubrick, one of my favorite directors ever. I just haven't gotten the chance to watch it, but I definitely will. So yeah, there's that. Being John Malkovich, everyone. I have seen this movie. I saw a review for Being John Malkovich that made me laugh. It said, if you don't like this movie, you're probably really boring. That's probably true. Being John Malkovich is... Even if you... I don't know. Like, I feel like if you haven't seen it, I can forgive it. It's kind of like a niche movie. I think it's, like, kind of famous. It's definitely like, so the reason I saw it is because it's not the first. It's written by Charlie Kaufman, who wrote Adaptation, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and has also written and directed like a bunch of his own movies, none of which I've checked out. I don't think I've watched a movie directed by Charlie Kaufman. But he wrote Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which I watched before this, and is one of my favorite movies ever. And I watched this, and I love this movie. It's great. It's also directed by Spike Jonze, which Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind was not. It was directed by, I think actually, there's an essay in here, but there's also an interview with Spike Jonze. It's not. He's not in the interview, but the director of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind has like a friendly rivalry with Spike Jonze. Michael Gondry, who directed Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, is in the scene audio commentary for this, for the Criterion version. But yeah, I love this movie. It's great. John Malkovich is great. John Cusack is great. Charlie Kaufman wrote it. Spike Jonze directed it. Spike Jonze also directed Adaptation. He directed Her, the new movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix, which is one of a really great movie that I really enjoyed watching as well. And being John Malkovich, I feel like this is just like a really fun, quirky movie that I feel like a lot of these movies I feel like anyone could see. But yeah, this is just a great movie. Of all of Charlie Kaufman's movies, I think this is probably the one that I would recommend to the most people, because it's just like fun. Even if you like don't see anything like profound in it, I think it's just like a fun movie to watch. It's just very like out there, and like, I don't know, it takes you for a ride. So yeah, being John Malkovich, great movie. Being There, I have not seen it. There are a couple reasons I got it. Well, I don't know if this was one of the reasons I got it, but Peter Sellers is the main character in this movie. Her was definitely a really engaging watch. I've heard great things about Being John Malkovich as well. Yes, Her is a great movie. So is Being John Malkovich. I think Being John Malkovich is like, I don't know. They're both interesting movies. I love them both dearly, and I would definitely recommend them. But Being There, so it has Peter Sellers in it, which is, he was in another movie that's actually going to be coming up shortly. But the main reason I got it is, if you can see, Hal Ashby. Hal Ashby directed this. Did he write it? I don't know. Let's see. I have not seen it. Credits. Screen. No, he didn't write it, but he directed it. Hal Ashby directed one of my favorite movies of all time, which will also be coming up here. The Hal Ashby movie that I have seen has a Criterion version, but it's out of print, so I couldn't get it. I have a different version of it, but I got this because I really loved that Hal Ashby movie I saw, and I've heard great things about this. So, and it has Peter Sellers in it, and he's great. So yeah, Being There. Haven't seen it, but I will. Alrighty. There's like plastic on a lot of these still. Alrighty. We gotta... Ooh! Oh, your comments are coming up again, Jack. This is weird. Anyway. We got a big guy here. Do the Right Thing. This is one of the movies... I was talking about it last night, actually, because we had some friends over and we were talking about movies. This is one of the movies I'm upset my parents didn't show me at a younger age. I had to kind of seek it out on my own. I'm not like that hurt over it because my parents are not as into movies as I am. Spike Lee, goated. He's a legend, man. Yeah, Spike Lee's an interesting case, right? So, I love a lot of Spike Lee's movies. This is not the first Spike Lee movie I've seen. I saw Black Klansman first, and I loved it. And it came out at like the perfect time. I think... Did I see this one next? Yes. No. You know what? I watched He Got Game first, which is like so not like a famous Spike Lee movie, but I think I watched that movie before I watched this. He Got Game is like I really enjoyed that movie too, but Do the Right Thing. Spike Lee's an interesting director because he doesn't make bad movies. He's made some bad movies, like School Days. I don't think is really that good at all. And he's made a lot of good movies, like Black Klansman, Mo Better Blues I really enjoyed. I like Malcolm X. What was it? The Five Bloods, his most recent movie, I thought was really interesting. It was a little long, but I really enjoyed it. But this, I feel like, I don't think anyone will debate, like, this is his best movie. Like, it's just so... I remember watching it the first time and just kind of sitting back and just kind of thinking about it and just watching the credits roll because it just had like such an effect on me. Yeah, this was when I was talking about 12 Angry Men and I was just like, this is the movie I recommend the most. This was the movie that gave me pause because I think, I don't know, it's hard to say, but this is, I feel like, nowadays probably a much more important movie than 12 Angry Men. Maybe not for everyone. It can be like kind of slow at parts. It's not perfect, but it's just a really great movie. And this is like a big Criterion thing. The reason for that is it comes with 2 discs. Barry Lyndon also comes with 2 discs. But the main reason is this booklet. It's not all essays. The majority of it, I think, is they have Spike Lee's journal. They have Spike Lee's journal from when he was like making this movie, which is I can't wait to read it because that's like so cool. So, yeah, Do the Right Thing. Another movie that I really can't recommend enough. Another movie that I have like very fond memories of watching it for the first time. Where just like immediately like I recognize like this is kind of like a masterpiece, and I would say that about Do the Right Thing. I think it's a masterpiece. So yeah, Do the Right Thing, great movie. Spike Lee is one of the most interesting directors ever. Dr. Strangelove, How I Stopped Worrying and Learned to Love the Bomb. This is the other movie with Peter Sellers in it, aside from being there with Hal Ashby. But this is also directed by Stanley Kubrick. This was the first Stanley Kubrick movie I saw. Yes, I think it was. I think it's the first movie that most people... the first movie that really, like, put him on a lot of people's radars when he was making movies. So, it's a great movie. Another movie that I don't think I can recommend enough. Very funny. Very, like... It's just kind of disturbing in parts. I got a film buff buddy who watches Strangelove every New Year's Eve. Whew! That's a rough holiday season. Because this movie is, like, hysterical, but it's also, like, kind of terrifying. That was kind of why I think I stayed away from it for so long. It's because it, like, kind of terrified me. But it's really smart, and the Criterion version is super cool. Like, I think of all the Criterions I have, might be the coolest. Because, like, look at what the essay comes in. Check that out. Yeah, you got... These are the essays. But it's framed as the Miss Foreign Affairs porn mag. Which is really funny. There's another... couple other things like this is just really cool. The thing that got me was I think what's actually in here is like, so we got the cast, we got the credits, and then like about the restoration and stuff. So it's not actually a Holy Bible, but still, it's just really funny. Yep, Doctor Strangelove, classic. The Criterion version especially. I think I can recommend just of how really cool it is in its presentation. But, yep, Doctor Strangelove, another movie I don't think I've ever really heard a bad word about. Which is not true for a lot of Kubrick's movies. Like, I have a friend who really hates Full Metal Jacket, and she has a really good reason for hating Full Metal Jacket, but there are a lot of movies where, like, The Shining and A Clockwork Orange, I've heard, not, like, all, like, high-praising things. But this one, I don't think I've really heard that. It's just kind of, like, a really fun, terrifying, interesting movie. So, yeah, Doctor Strangelove, great. David Lynch, Eraserhead. I haven't seen it. This might be the one I feel the most bad about not seeing. Because it's like David Lynch. Which is like a very... David Lynch is director of Mulholland Drive. I wanted to say The Seventh Seal, but that's not him, is it? No, that's... I want to say that... Ingmar Bergman. Yeah, I don't know why I thought that was David Lynch. Blue Velvet, he directed, and also... Let me just look up his discography. Or, not discography. His filmography. But this is the one that I heard about first, Eraserhead. This kind of... it's a horror movie from the 70s, his first movie, and it's kind of like a cult classic, and also like kind of praised as a masterpiece. Yeah, this was one that I bought towards the end of the Criterion sale, and I kind of just David Lynch was one of those directors that I felt like I really needed to get into, and so I figured I'd buy this because it's the first movie that most people... Well, no, the first people that most people mention is Mulholland Drive, but it wasn't... I looked it up, and I heard that it's not the movie you should watch first. I feel like Eraserhead is kind of the movie you should watch first. Elephant Man. That's the movie I was thinking of. He also made he also made a movie version of Dune. Not the most recent one, like one from the 80s. My dad said it was horrible. But everything else I've heard, like, amazing things. And now he has a YouTube channel, and it, like, is really weird and just does, like, weather reports and numbers of the day. So David Lynch, always been a really interesting guy. I've heard nothing but good things about Eraserhead, and I just haven't gotten the chance to watch it. But it's up there. I think after Barry Lyndon might be Eraserhead. Fail Safe. Another movie I haven't seen. There are a couple of reasons I got this. Number one is that it's Sidney Lumet, who directed 12 Angry Men, which is a great movie. And the other reason is because of actually the Royal Ocean Film Society, which is a YouTube channel I watch. They did how I got into collecting the Criterion was their YouTube video about it. It's like 10 minutes long. I highly recommend it. It's really interesting. And when he actually goes to like Barnes & Noble to buy a bunch of movies, I don't know if he actually walks away buying this, but he did like say that this was a really great movie, and it makes a really great companion piece to Doctor Strangelove. And reading the synopsis, it makes sense. This unnerving procedural thriller painstakingly details an all too plausible nightmare scenario in which a mechanical failure jams the United States military's chain of command, sends the country hurtling towards nuclear war with the Soviet Union. So, I mean, it takes place around the same time as Doctor Strangelove. It has, like, the same central conflict. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to watching this. I just haven't gotten the chance to see it. There's a really funny thing. I did take out the booklet. I haven't read it, but there's a really funny... First of all, a lot of these are not, like, full-on booklets. A lot of them just, like, unwrap. This one is, like, a full-on poster, but on the back, the essay, you can see, is in the shape of a nuke. That's really cool. So, failsafe. Yep. Really, really looking forward to watching this. Another thing about, actually, to backtrack a little bit, Eraserhead. This is another one that comes with, like, it's not as big as Do the Right Thing, but it does come up with, like, a full-on book. So I'm really looking forward to reading that. Yeah, I think I actually got this. I don't know if I bought this before Do the Right Thing, but I think I got it before Do the Right Thing, and I was just like, whoa, this thing is huge! And then I got Do the Right Thing, and it was literally, like, 200 pages. So. Yep. Eraserhead. Failsafe. Good movies. Alrighty. Everybody's about to pop off. Well. I see a comment. Would you ever get a double-sided frame for that if you had somewhere to hang it? Sure. Yeah, yeah, probably. That'd be fun. That'd be a good idea. Yeah, totally. That's a really good idea. But Fantastic Mr. Fox, directed by Wes Anderson. I hadn't seen it. No, I'm just kidding. I've seen this. Wes Anderson. I feel like everybody knows, or has at least heard of Wes Anderson. And a couple of his movies. He just released The French Dispatch, which was not my favorite. I thought it was good. It was good, not amazing. Mostly because this is one of... this isn't my favorite movie he's ever done, but it's up there. I like it more than Isle of Dogs, which is the other stop motion he did. Not saying I didn't like Isle of Dogs. That's another great movie. But Fantastic Mr. Fox, I think, is the best stop motion movie he's done. The best out of two. This is another one that comes with a lot of, like, really cool extra stuff. I mean, it just looks really nice. You got the booklet, and it comes with, like, a bunch of stills. You got the cast, and it's just really cool. Yeah, this is a movie that I actually felt like, I mean, I loved it. I saw it before I started collecting Criterions. And I was debating just not getting it, and getting, like, other movies. But then I saw, like, the inside of this, and, like, all the cool stuff it came with, and I was just like, I should probably get it. But yeah, Fantastic Mr. Fox. This has, like, a star-studded cast, too. Like, so many, like, recognizable... I mean, its lead actors are George Clooney and Meryl Streep. Like, geez. Bill Murray's in it, Jason Schwartzman. Those are two, like, people that Wes Anderson always has in his movies. Willem Dafoe, who's also in a lot of Wes Anderson movies. Owen Wilson. Yeah, this is a great movie. This is, I feel like... It's not the first Wes Anderson movie that I watched, but it's probably the first that I would recommend to people. I feel like this appeals to everyone, whereas some of his other movies don't. But great movie, and a great DVD to go along with it. We're like a quarter of the way there. I bought a lot of Blu-rays. Good Morning by Yasuhiro Ozu. I haven't seen it. This is another movie I bought because of the Criterion Closet. A lot of people in those videos, excuse me, a lot of people in those videos pick up Good Morning and talk about it. A lot of people just talk about Yasuhiro Ozu. Yasuhiro Ozu, I feel like, is like the Japanese director, aside from Akira Kurosawa. But this is not. I feel like that's the one that like comes to most people's minds. He's like the second name that in Japanese film that I ever like remembered. Aside from Kurosawa, because nobody will shut up about him. It's a good thing, obviously. But yeah, I just haven't gotten around to seeing it. I've heard amazing things about it. I've heard it's really funny, really cute. I've heard there's a lot of fart humor, which my mind goes straight to Miyazaki. You know what? That's a really great point. That's probably where my mind goes to too. Yeah, Miyazaki, Studio Ghibli guy. I probably knew about Shinkai too, but I don't know why, but I kind of think about like anime and like live action Japanese movies in two different categories. I really shouldn't. Yeah, when I think of Japanese directors, Miyazaki isn't like the first name that pops in my mind. It always goes to Kurosawa, Ozu, Shohei Umemura, and other directors' films I haven't seen, but I just know. And then like I'll think, oh yeah, Miyazaki and Shinkai and all those like great anime directors that are really awesome. But yeah, Yasuhiro Ozu, I've heard amazing things about. And I've heard this has a lot of fart humor, which makes me want to show it to my dad. Because, I mean, it's perfect, right? So yeah, Good Morning, I've heard is a really great introduction to Japanese films. I was introduced to Japanese films before I knew about this movie. But, yeah, I'm gonna watch this. Kazuhiro with Akira, absolute classic in film and animation. I don't know too much about that. Cool. I'll have to research that name after this, but that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, if I'm probably gonna buy a bunch of like next time I get like to Barnes and Noble or like go into buying DVDs, I'm gonna go into buying like Studio Ghibli movies because those movies are great. I haven't seen a whole lot of those either. I think I've only seen 3. Yeah, that makes me feel uneasy too. I think I've only seen Ponyo, Spirited Away, and Howl's Moving Castle. And Ponyo is like objectively the best of the 3. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna rank them, but I do have a strong connection to Ponyo because it was the first I watched it as a kid. Anyway, moving on. Our good buddy Wes is at it again. The Grand Budapest Hotel. Are these backwards? Are these backwards for you guys? No. Okay. They're backwards for me. They're not backwards for you guys. Grand Budapest Hotel. This is the first Wes Anderson movie I watched. I think I have a stronger personal connection to that one now, but this was my favorite because I had a closer connection to it because it was the first one I watched. But it's also just like a really great movie. This is another one. A lot of the Wes Anderson movies have like a lot of high production value in Criterion. Like, look at all this. This is a poster, and then you get like 2 booklets, and they just come with like a bunch of stuff. So, yeah. Wes Anderson movies, always a fun time, always interesting. He's the master of quirk. And Grand Budapest Hotel is another one that I feel like I would easy to recommend. I feel like my affinity for it might be a lot stronger than some other people, but I still love this movie. It's great. I rewatched it when I bought it, and it's a great movie. I love it. So, Grand Budapest Hotel, another Wes Anderson movie that you should watch. The Great Dictator. You gotta look at it that way, because this is one of my favorite covers. This is just kind of like really cool. The Great Dictator, Charlie Chaplin. Very old movie. Not the only. I don't know if he did another like talkie after this, but most of his movies were silent movies. This is not the first Charlie Chaplin movie I watched. First Charlie Chaplin movie I watched was City Lights, which I think I probably like a little bit more than this. I was thinking of buying City Lights, but at the time that I really wanted to, the Criterion sale had already ended, and I felt like I'd spent too much money anyway. So, but I did get The Great Dictator. This was one of the first ones I bought. I think I bought this at the same time as 12 Angry Men. This is a great movie. Controversial masterpiece, The Great Dictator, Charlie Chaplin offers a both cutting caricature of Adolf Hitler and a slight tweaking of his own comedic persona. Yeah, it's his first Chaplin with City Lights too. Yeah, that's just a great movie. It's just so like cute and really wholesome, and like you just kind of feel at ease when you watch that movie. Not to say like you don't feel that when you watch something like this or like The Kid or Modern Times. I feel like City Lights is just like, I don't know. It's really weird because like a lot of those movies kind of, Charlie Chaplin's just a really interesting. I could talk about Charlie Chaplin for a long time, even though I think I've only seen 2 of his movies, this and City Lights. But he's just such an interesting, like, he was the first like famous American movie director in a way. Or at least the like oldest that I know of. This movie didn't come out until 1940, but he was making movies before then. Great Dictator, great. Monologue at the end is classic. It's the reason the reason I bought this. This was the first Criterion I bought that I hadn't seen beforehand. I bought it because my dad recommended it to me after we watched City Lights together. When we would talk about Charlie Chaplin, he would always bring up The Great Dictator, because he actually watched I watched bits of Modern Times, and he said it wasn't as good as City Lights, but he said this was amazing, and it was really good. I didn't expect Chaplin to transition so seamlessly into talkies from silent movies, but it works. It's a great movie. Definitely would recommend this. Which should you watch first? I don't know if you should watch this or City Lights first, because this is more of a traditional movie. This is like, I mean, it's not a silent film, but I feel like Charlie Chaplin. I feel like you're more likely to like this if you like City Lights, not the other way around. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Great movie though. It's the only Charlie Chaplin movie I have in my collection. If the Criterion sale had gone on for like 10 more days, I would have gotten City Lights too. And maybe even The Kid. I've heard the great things about The Kid. We have made it to about halfway, maybe a little less than halfway, but we've made it to the first non-Criterion favorite first experiences watching a movie was Herald and Mod, because I just knew like I was watching like an amazing movie. Whoop. What was that? Oh, sorry. It's okay. I got it. Is this the only one?
That's the only one.
Okay, thank you. My dad just slid me a bank statement. That's not a part of this collection. Anyway, Herald and Mod. Absolutely amazing. Can't recommend it enough. I don't know if I'd recommend this DVD. I haven't really checked out the special features too much, but just like from quality alone of just like the box and stuff, Criterion's versions are better. So if you don't really care about the special features, I would just get a cheaper version of the Blu-ray. Yeah, and the box isn't even like as cool or anything. It's just kind of like a... Anyway, I bought it because it's it's become one of my favorite movies ever. It's such a great movie. Herald and Mod. This is another movie where I think like one of the movies talking about this movie. I want to watch it again now. House. Another Japanese movie, Japanese horror movie. Nobuhiko Obayashi. I never heard of him before buying this. I still haven't seen the movie. I bought it because nobody in the Criterion Closet videos will shut up about it. Everybody tells me Bill Hader, when he was doing his Criterion Closet, had a House shirt because he loves it so much. Apparently, it's a really just crazy horror movie, and I love crazy horror movies. So, this is another movie I'm really looking forward to watching. It's under 90 minutes, so it's from the 70s, 1977. So, really, really looking forward to watching this. I mean, the cover art is just cool. Like, this is just so cool. Yeah, I cannot wait to watch this. It'll happen one of these days. But this is an amazing movie, I assume. But I don't know, because I haven't seen it. But it'll happen eventually. Alrighty. It Happened One Night. Can't say enough good things about this movie. I've seen it. It's amazing. Another movie me and my dad really like. Directed by Frank Capra, who's directed a couple movies. A couple really famous movies. This is, I believe, the only one that I've seen of his. Yeah, he directed Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Which is a very popular movie, supposedly. I haven't seen it. This is the only one I've seen. Mr. Deeds Goes to Town. Not Mr. Deeds as in the Adam Sandler movie, which I also haven't seen. And then a little movie called It's a Wonderful Life, which I also haven't seen. This is the only Frank Capra movie I've seen. It's a Wonderful Life. I'm going to watch it this year. But this movie is so cute. And it's so good. So funny. I love this movie. This is great. Mr. Smith should have gone to Sheboygan. What does that say? Sheboygan? I don't know what that is. I've seen it happen one at Walls of Jericho. Yep. Amazing. It's so good. I love this movie. Cannot recommend it enough. I love this movie. I can't. I'm just repeating myself at this point, but it's so good. It Happened One Night. This is a movie that I bought a little later. But it's in Wisconsin, is it? I haven't seen it in a while, but I don't remember that about the movie. But it's an absolute classic. Great movie. It Happened One Night. Love it. We're about halfway through. I'm just gonna really quick plug in my phone because it's running out of battery. Will this reach? No, it will not. So we're gonna bring this back a little bit and then plug it in. Sheboygan is in Wisconsin. Oh, I gotcha. Interesting. I wonder, was Frank Capra born in Wisconsin? No. I don't know. That's interesting. Oh! I understand what you're saying now. Um, it is not interesting. I feel like everybody feels that about wherever they're from. Are you from Wisconsin, Jack? Oh, that's not even... There's not even... There's not even... There's more than one person here now. This is crazy. I'm sorry. I totally assumed you're Jack. So It Happened One Night is not in Wisconsin. I was totally misreading comments. Anyway, sorry. I'm still kind of new at this. Let's move forward. Let's move forward a little bit. Alright, so yeah, It Happened One Night. I'm still in Pittsfield. That's what I assumed. Mr. Smith should not come to Pittsfield. I think everyone should come to Pittsfield. I love Pittsfield. But that's just me. Moonrise Kingdom. Is that a Snuggie hanging on a door? It is not a Snuggie. It is a comfy, which is basically a Snuggie. It's close enough. It's a big wearable blanket, essentially. Yes, basically. Anyway, you can barely see the title on this cover, but it's Moonrise Kingdom. It's, the last of the three. It's a Snuggie ripoff, pretty much. This is the last of the three. I will eventually. This is the last of the three Wes Anderson movies that I own, and it's also my favorite. It wasn't my favorite the first time I watched it. I think, honestly, in terms of directing, I might still prefer The Grand Budapest Hotel. But I think, just like, at its heart, I think this is probably my favorite now. I mean, the main character's name is Sam, and it takes place in New England. It's basically me. I think Wes Anderson wrote this movie about me. But yeah, after filmed in the great state of Rhode Island. Really? I didn't know that. Yeah, Rhode Island's great. Yeah, I love this movie. I didn't like it as much as I do now at first, on my first time watching it, but after rewatching it, I think it's my favorite Wes Anderson movie now. Comes with... Oh, it's not... I own one more Wes Anderson movie. I lied. We'll get to that in a second. It's towards the end of my collection. But, yeah, this is another one that comes with a bunch of stuff. It comes with a postcard, map of New Penzance, and, like, a whole, like, booklet of stuff. So, yeah, all the Wes Anderson movies, man, come with, like, all the cool stuff. Yeah, I love Moonrise Kingdom. Of the Wes Anderson movies I've seen, this is probably... Do you like films with a lot of nudity? Not particularly. It's not really what I look for. But Moonrise Kingdom is amazing. I love this movie. I was gonna say, this is, of the three movies that I've seen, of the three Wes Anderson movies that I own, this is probably the one that I'm least likely to recommend. But it is my favorite. I think, Fantastic Mr. Fox and, what if it's tasteful nudity? Sure. But I don't know. I feel like anything excessive kind of, like, bleeds into fetishization. But we're getting off topic. We're talking about Moonrise Kingdom, which doesn't have any nudity. Yeah, I don't think I think Grand Budapest Hotel and Fantastic Mr. Fox both have a lot more broader appeals than Moonrise Kingdom. Focus! I'm trying. But I think Moonrise Kingdom is my favorite right now. That could change. I haven't seen all the Wes Anderson movies. I've seen most of them, but I haven't seen all of them. Memories of Murder, Bong JoonHo, a guy who has become quite famous in recent years for Another movie that you may have heard of. Memories of Murder. I saw it because of I got it for two reasons. One, because of the director, the guy who directed Parasite. Indeed. I got it because it's him, and I also got it because it came out the year I was born, and I just felt like I needed to get it because of that. I watched it. It's a really great movie. It comes with 2 discs. What else does this come with? 2 2003 commentaries. So 2 commentaries. New interview with Guillermo del Toro. New interview with Bong about real-life serial killer who inspired the film. Documentary from 2004 on making of the film. So you got a lot of stuff in this. But I watched it. It's a really great movie. It's a little slow. And that's kind of a criticism I had of Parasite. But this is still like a really just fun, interesting movie. I would definitely recommend it. Yeah, it's a great movie. Not too much else to say about this. Parasite. Bong JoonHo again. This is the movie that everyone knows him for, probably, and for good reason. It's an amazing, amazing movie. First foreign language feature to win Best Picture at the Oscars. Very well deserved. Interestingly, not my favorite movie from 2019. I think that probably... do you like Korean stuff? Yeah! I haven't seen too much of it. I think Bong JoonHo is probably the only, like, main thing that I've seen. But I'm actually, next semester, I'm taking a course about South Korean cinema. Or just Korean cinema. So, yeah, I mean, after watching this, how could you not be, like, at least somewhat interested? I've never been to Korea. I've never been, ever go to Koreatown in the city. No, I haven't. But I definitely should. Anyway, Parasite, amazing, amazing movie. How could you watch this and not want to, like, know more about, like, I don't know, just like about the director, the characters. What was your favorite film of 2019? You were about to say. My favorite film of 2019 is The Lighthouse. This is probably a close second, but The Lighthouse, I think, is probably my favorite for. It's Robert Eggers, Willem Dafoe, Robert Pattinson. Great, amazing movie. But I mean, it doesn't have a Criterion version. So, but this does. 2019 was an amazing year for movies. Just absolutely unbelievable. Honestly, it's shaping up like this year is going to be pretty similar. I mean, I was thinking about that earlier in the year. 2019 had, I mean, it had this. It had Marriage Story. That was the year. Lighthouse was damn near perfect. Due for a rewatch. Almost my favorite A24 film, next to The Witch. The Witch. That's interesting because it's the same director. And 2020 was a dirty diaper full of pubic hair. I think everybody would agree on that. Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't seen The Witch yet. I'm planning to, because it's the same director as Lighthouse, and I love that movie. Anyway, I keep getting off topic. Parasite, amazing movie. It also just, like, looks really cool. I think this version comes with a black and white version of the movie, which I'm really looking forward to watching. Also comes with 2 discs. There's a lot here, because there's a lot to this movie. So, like this chat, Kelly, is... I'm glad you guys are bonding in this very small chat. Anyway. Alright, this is going to be a bit of a long one. But, Persona. Is Crutchy watching too? Crutchy. I don't know. Played a different Newsy when I did that musical in high school. I forget my character's name. Anyway, Persona is one of my favorite movies ever. Movie I had to rewatch a bunch of times to really appreciate it as much as I do now. I've written 2 of my papers from the last semester for college were about Persona. And that was because it was part of the required curriculum. Stick out in a lot of people's minds, or at least like the first few names that people have heard of. Persona. Listen, you said you wear the fake snuggie. Listen, man, I'm talking about movies here. I started this stream because I'm talking about movies. If you don't want to listen to me talk about movies, you can watch something else. I will wear this fake snuggie in a little bit, but right now I'm going to talk about movies. And I have a lot to say about Persona. I'm not going to say all of it here. What I will say is that it probably has, of the Criterions, I haven't read all of them again. But of the essays that I've read, Persona has my favorite, or at least the most interesting. It's not good. Hello? Are we back? Okay. I think we're back. I'm sorry. It said we are having technical difficulties. No, the next film in my collection is not All Dogs Go to Heaven. Although if there were a Criterion, I would buy it. Anyway, Persona has is pitched to me as a movie that everyone should see in their lifetime, and even though it's not like, it's a very experimental movie and it might not be for everyone, I do kind of agree with that. I think even if you're not into art house, I think this is a movie that I feel like this is a movie that you could just like see if you're interested in it. Or if it even just like leaves an impression on you, and it definitely did for me. Like, I didn't love this movie the first time I saw it. I liked it, but it wasn't like my favorite. And just rewatching it, I love it. So, yep, Persona, great movie. Another one of those movies that I feel like if you're gonna watch any of the movies in my collection, that should be one of them. Paths of Glory. I haven't seen it yet. It's a Stanley Kubrick movie. The reason I got it, there's a couple of reasons. There's a couple of reasons I really want to watch it after I bought it. I mean, it's Stanley Kubrick, so it's probably amazing. I've heard that it might be better than Full Metal Jacket. It might be a better war movie than Full Metal Jacket. Better anti-war movie. So, I am really looking forward to watching this. I haven't yet, but I will. Because Full Metal Jacket is right now my second favorite movie ever. Right behind a movie that is in this collection, which I will be getting to in a second. But yeah, Paths of Glory, I've heard amazing things about. The reason I bought it was because Terry Gilliam, who directed Brazil, a movie, I haven't seen any of his movies, but he's a director I really admire because of what he does outside of movies, and that he really pushes, his creative vision above all else, and I think that's a really important thing for directors to do. So I'm a huge fan of Terry Gilliam, even though I haven't seen any of his movies yet. But again, I will eventually. There's just a lot of movies I need to see. But he said that this movie, Paths of Glory, he saw it on a matinee, and it completely changed his vision of what movies could be. So that to me is a glowing review from one of the most interesting directors working today. So I feel like I have to see it eventually. So I have it, and I have no reason not to watch it, so I'm going to watch it. Eventually, just not right now. We're almost there. We only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 movies left, everyone. Thank you for sticking by for this long, everybody who's... I think Jack, I don't know if you're still here, but if you are, thanks for sticking by for so long. Next movie, Portrait of a Lady on Fire. I've never talked to someone who has seen this movie and said that it isn't a masterpiece. Everyone I've talked to who has seen this movie has said it's one of the greatest movies ever. When I first heard that statement, I was kind of inclined to push back, because I feel like recency bias takes, it's a lot there, but it's just kind of perfect. Like, it's just kind of a perfect movie. Like, I don't think I could or would change anything about it. It's engaging. And it has, like, no music for, like, 90% of the movie. And a general rule of thumb for me when I'm watching movies is that if it doesn't have, like, a really interesting or engaging score or soundtrack, or if it doesn't have, like, a soundtrack period, like, it's a major turnoff. But this movie, like, I don't know, man. It's something else. Another movie that I feel like, of the ones I've seen, this is a movie that I would recommend people watch. It's in a different league. It's an amazing, amazing, amazing movie. Portrait of a Lady on Fire. The Princess Bride, my favorite movie ever. This is the first Criterion I ever bought. It looks like a book, which is really cool. Comes with a couple essays. This is my favorite movie of all time. And I don't see that changing for a while. It might, but I feel weird about it being my favorite movie ever, because I feel like in recent years, especially ever since I got into the Criterion, I've become a lot more snobbish. Or I've become kind of like an art house snob, where, like, I'm obviously, this is hyperbole, but just like Ingmar Bergman is like the classics, and like all these like terrible comedies are just like disgrace to cinema. But I mean, and I still like really like just kind of like silly movie. Like I love a lot of movies, but I would watch Ted 2 like any day of the week. I couldn't tell you why, because that movie is objectively horrible, but I love it. It's it's a movie I share with my dad. A lot of these movies I share with my dad. Yeah, a lot of like really silly movies that are probably like objectively terrible are like some of my favorite movies ever. This, I feel ashamed for bringing this up in the same conversation, because this is not an objectively terrible, silly movie. It's a very thoughtful, very sweet, very funny, epic movie. If you haven't seen it, of all of them, this is my definitive answer, and it's because it's my favorite movie. If you have not seen any of the movies that I've shown or am going to show, this one, Princess Bride, I think it's perfect. I kind of like Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Like, I don't think I would change it at all. It's a movie that I have watched a bunch of times, and every time I think I'm gonna get bored of it, and I just never have. Every time I watch The Princess Bride, it's like the best part of my day. So yeah, it's my favorite movie ever. If you haven't seen it, I really think you should. It's the movie that I get the most upset about when people say they haven't seen it. Normally I'm able to forgive it, because I haven't seen a lot of movies. And I can forgive it if you haven't seen The Princess Bride. But you should really watch The Princess Bride. Yeah, Princess Bride, favorite movie ever. So, I mean, I love this movie. Rob Reiner, who directed this movie, I feel like is one of the most underrated directors ever. Um, it's because he hasn't directed something like Portrait of a Lady on Fire or like this auteurish vision, but like he directed this. He directed When Harry Met Sally. He directed Stand by Me. He directed Spinal Tap. He directed A Few Good Men. He directed Misery. Like he's had some like absolute like classics in his repertoire. Yeah, I mean when people think of the, I mean I don't know he's I don't know if I would consider him like the best or one of the best directors of all time, but I feel like people exclude him from that conversation a lot, just because of the sheer like number of like classics that are in his library that he directed. Like I feel like I mean, he directed my favorite movie, so he's a part of the conversation. For a long time, I considered him my favorite director. I don't know if that's true anymore. Just because a lot of his movies, the directing isn't like what I appreciate about them the most. It's definitely still there, but usually it's just like the dialogue or the writing, and he doesn't write a lot of his movies. I think the only one he really wrote was Spinal Tap, but I can still feel like a Rob Reiner like influence when I watch like this or When Harry Met Sally or Stand by Me. There's always like that level of like adult childish comedy, if that makes any sense. Yeah, I love this movie. It's very personal. I have a lot of personal attachment to this movie. It's a movie that scared me as a kid, but it's grown to be my favorite. And if that isn't a testament to its greatness, I don't know what is. It's a great movie. I don't want to talk about it too much longer because it is actually going to make me emotional, but I love The Princess Bride. Punch Drunk Love. This movie's awesome. I had not seen it until, God, about a few weeks ago.
Sam?
Yes?
I need you to come out here for a minute.
Can I have like 15 or 20 minutes? Sorry about that. Anyway, Punch Drunk Love, I had not seen. I actually saw it because after I saw it the same day I saw Licorice Pizza, which is Paul Thomas Anderson, the guy who directed this. He's directed a lot of movies, a lot of really great movies. One of the like most famous and like critically acclaimed directors ever. But his newest movie, Licorice Pizza, was the first one I ever saw. I saw it in theaters, and I really liked it. It's tied for my favorite movie of the year so far. I haven't seen too many of like the really popular ones, but right now it's one of my favorites for sure. But anyway, I saw that and I figured I should check out more of his stuff. And the one that I figured I'd watch first was this, Punch Drunk Love, because it's the one that my dad kept recommending to me the most. And it's amazing. I love this movie. It's a masterpiece in my opinion. It's really tense, really sweet, really interestingly directed and edited, brilliantly acted. I mean, it's not really a competition, but like one of Adam Sandler's best roles. It's just an amazing movie. You should watch this movie. I'm sad it took me so long to watch it, but it's a great movie. Rashomon, Akira Kurosawa, one of the most famous directors of all time, one of the most famous movies of all time. This is a great movie. I had to watch it for school. The chat just caught up to me, so actually, he just acted in that one. Nora Ephron directed it. What movie are you talking about? Um, will you be in my staged reading of Princess Bride? Yes. Uh, why not just subscribe to the Criterion channel? I am subscribed to the Criterion channel, but I like collecting physical copies because they come with essays and special features. You want to check out Licorice Pizza? Highly recommend it. Really great movie. Anyway, Rashomon, Akira Kurosawa movie. I had to see this for school. I'm glad I did. It's a really beautiful movie, really beautiful black and white movie, really thought-provoking. I really like this movie. Highly recommend it. Recommend watching it multiple times. My research paper for one of my lit classes was a comparative analysis piece of this and Persona, because I actually do think there's a lot in common between those two movies. I love this movie. It's a great movie. You should watch it. This, I think, would be the Akira Kurosawa movie that I would recommend the most. It's not the first one I watched. It's the first one I finished. I watched the first half of Seven Samurai, and it's a great movie. I've been meaning to rewatch it, but this one is a lot shorter, and I think it's a really great introduction. Those are also the only two Akira Kurosawa movies I've seen, so I don't know how much you can take my word for it, but that's my personal opinion. Down to the last 6. My version of Licorice Pizza would be Skittles hamburger. Yeah. So actually, funny. I was so confused about the why he went with that title, and then I talked about it with my friend. And it was just like, it's the movie about two things that wouldn't normally go together. And I was just like, I assume that's why it is called that. But Royal Tenenbaums, the last Wes Anderson movie I own, and the only one I haven't seen. It's the movie that I've been told is his best. It's going to take a lot to dethrone. You look like you love licorice. Love is a strong word. I like it. Anyway, Royal Tenenbaums. I still haven't seen it, but I've heard amazing things. I've heard it's his best. It's going to take a lot to dethrone Moonrise Kingdom, but I've heard amazing things about this movie. I've heard Royal Tenenbaums makes people cry profusely. Well, I'm dead inside. A lot of movies don't make me cry. If that must mean it's emotional, and I like emotional movies. So I went to the school. You went to school with a girl who plays young Gwyneth Paltrow. No way. That's awesome. Well, that's going to be my new lame claim to fame now, is that somebody in my chat went to school with the girl who played the young Gwyneth Paltrow. So, anyway, Royal Tenenbaums, really looking forward to watching it. Smiles of a Summer Night, haven't seen it yet. The other Ingmar Bergman movie I have that isn't Persona. I bought it when Stephen Sondheim died, because this is the movie that inspired A Little Night Music. And I was really shaken up about Stephen Sondheim's death. And I figured, I mean, it's obviously not that much of a tribute to him, but I figured I'd check this out. I like Frowns of a Winter's Day. Is that an Ingmar Bergman? Oh, it's not an actual movie. Anyway, Smiles of a Summer Night, I bought it as kind of a mini tribute to Stephen Sondheim. I still haven't seen it, but I definitely will. And I'm really looking forward to it. So, that's the other Ingmar Bergman movie I have. Some Like It Hot. Amazing, amazing movie. Another movie I share with my dad. We watched it together for the first time. We were told it was one of the, I also like French fried ape sandwiches. What? I don't know what that means. But Some Like It Hot, amazing, amazing movie. Another movie I share with my dad. We watched it together for the first time. We were told it was one of the best movies ever. We watched it. It's a really great movie. Best of all time. It's one of my best, like, old-timey movies of all time. Like, I put it up there with It Happened One Night. It's a great, great movie. Very cute. Billy Wilder made a fantastic movie. So, Some Like It Hot. Check it out if you haven't. Down to the last three. Throne of Blood, the other Akira Kurosawa movie I have. Do you like it to Marilyn? I do like it to Marilyn. I like Marilyn Monroe. But Throne of Blood, the other Akira Kurosawa movie I own, have not seen it. But I was going to, because my professor pitched it as an alternative to Rashomon if we wanted to analyze this, but we're too scared to go into Rashomon for, like, content warning reasons. I like Throne 2, but it's got poop in it. Okay. I guess I'll just have to see if that affects my opinion. But I haven't seen it yet. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to watch it eventually. I've heard it's really good. I've also heard that the original title was, like, way better. I think it was, like, Spider Castle or something. It was... Throne of Blood's a great title, but I heard the original title is way better. I wish I could remember it off the top of my head. We're down to the last Criterion. We have one more movie. There's not a Criterion. Last Criterion I own. Uncut Gems. Adam Sandler, Josh Benny Safdie brothers movie. This is a great movie. I saw Good Time First, which is the other Safdie brothers movie I've watched. The original title was Spider-Man No Way Home. I don't think that's true. I saw Good Time before I saw this. Good Time is also an amazing movie. Robert Pattinson, I think, is an amazing actor. I mean, I know he was in Twilight, but I haven't seen the Twilight movies. I never plan to. And him in Good Time and The Lighthouse. I prefer the older one. But I think there is a lot that separates the two films, and I feel like you can make an argument for both. I bought this one because the other one isn't available yet, so I haven't bought it. But I love this movie. One of my favorite... Little Shop of Horrors, I think I have a closer connection to, but this is probably the best musical movie, in my opinion. I love this movie. Recommend it to anyone. And I would also recommend the Steven Spielberg remake that is still in theaters. It's a really... stream skip for a minute. They're back again. I'm just talking about West Side Story. It's a great movie. I own, like, this big collector's edition. Yeah, Steven Spielberg movies, great. I was in stage versions of West Side and Little Shop. Great. I wanted to be in a stage version of Little Shop, but never got around to it, unfortunately. Nor West Side. But I would recommend this. I would recommend this movie to anyone, as I would the musical, as I would the Steven Spielberg movie that just came out. Both great movies. I think I prefer this one just a little bit more because of personal preference, and also I saw this one first. Perhaps you still can be. No, I don't think so. I'm done with acting for a long time. But West Side Story, great. I love it. One of the best musical movie, in my opinion. Even though I like Little Shop of Horrors anymore. That's it. That's all the movies I own on Blu-ray. And that's it. Why? I just don't want to anymore. That's it. As promised, before I go, I will put on the Snuggie clone. There it is. I hope you got what you wanted. This is it. Here come the viewers. Maybe. This is how I get a bazillion views on YouTube. But that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully we can do this